Operation Torch overwhelms the French resistance. Algiers surrenders on the first day, but 2 British destroyers are sunk in its harbor. At Oran, fighting is stiffer. The American 1st Armored Division is decimated by French Marines, and 2 destroyers are lost. As for Casablanca, the battle takes 3 days before there's a surrender on November 11th. Several French ships and 1,000 Frenchmen are lost. Admiral Jean Darlan, second in command in the French Vichy government, personally orders a ceasefire in North Africa. On November 13th, a treaty with the French is signed. The North African territory is now under Allied jurisdiction. Although French crowds welcome American troops, there's reason for the soldiers to be skeptical.
The French saw the Allied invasion of North Africa not as liberation. In contrast, when the Germans moved into Tunisia soon after the Allied invasions, the French military in Tunisia did not resist the Germans, but rather withdrew from the crucial airfield.
Rommel builds up his strength for a decisive counterattack, landing more than 1,000 men a day. The Tunisian ports of Bizerte and Tunis form a defense line for the Germans. But Allied planes bomb the newly arrived forces. Comes the real battle. American troops clash with well-trained panzer units.
The U.S. Army was first introduced to World War II-style mobile warfare at Kasserine Pass. At the Battle of Kasserine Pass, a quick-moving German counterattack defeated a largely scratch collection of American units from the 1st Infantry Division, 1st Armored Division, other units. These were pushed back from the Kasserine Pass. This was a key pass in the escarpment between Tunisia and Algeria. By pushing them back, the Germans laid open the possibility of a counterattack towards the plains in Algeria, imperiling the Allied lines of communication.
For American tank units trying to establish superiority, bloody battles lie ahead, as well as a lesson in humility for the Desert Fox. The German reaction to the Anglo-American invasion is instantaneous. By December, the Germans pushed back the British First Army on its approach to Tunis. Strong American forces and even some newly allied French units move up to support the British First Army.
Winter of 1942 and 43 in Tunisia and Algeria was very difficult. Rain, mud, mechanized forces ground to a halt. Storms washed away bridges, washed away roads. Airfields became seas of mud. Aircraft couldn't operate. So the chances of a quick victory after the landings in Torch, in taking Tunisia, were in many ways prevented by weather. Once the troops came ashore, they moved to the front line in Tunisia by the French railway. Little boxcars left over from the First World War. The U.S. used what they could to bring their forces up towards the front in Tunisia.
The 1st Armored Division moves into the desert, an environment they're unaccustomed to. On On February 14th, with the Allies well stocked with supplies and Rommel running out, the Panzer Army is under pressure to attack.
For the first time, we encountered American troops, and these soldiers were not only inexperienced in desert warfare, they were inexperienced in warfare. When they came from the US, they suffered greatly in the first few weeks due to this fact, whereas we could fall back on our 2 years of experience in desert warfare. The weapons were constantly covered in dust, and they had to be cleaned if they were to work at all. Added to that, there was generally a great shortage of water because the few wells that existed were used up very quickly, and one couldn't remove the salt to the point that it was suitable for human consumption.
The Allies are caught by surprise and have to fight a series of delaying actions. Hill by hill, valley by valley, they are driven back.
The U.S. had to learn modern warfare in Tunisia. The Germans had been doing this successfully against the British since 1941. And the fact that they were only able to do this against the Americans one time at Kasserine Pass really shows how quickly the U.S. Army was able to learn these lessons.
Although the Germans are beating back the Americans, their fuel and food are running low. Rommel's requests to Hitler for help are not being answered.
Tunisia saw for the first time the German Tiger heavy tank committed to combat in the West. These were much larger, more powerful than the Sherman tanks, designed and built in the United States, that equipped the bulk of both British and American armor. The Tiger had an 88mm gun, very thick armor, and was very difficult to destroy.